Good afternoon to all the participants. Welcome back to the afternoon session of Day 2 FTP on data analysis using SPSS organized by Department of Management Studies, Mahatma Gandhi University, Nalgonda. I am Mayar Kalyani, research scholar from Department of Management Studies, Mahatma Gandhi University. Session 3 is about parametric stress. Resource person is Mr. G.N. Satish Kumar, data analyst, SR Software Solutions, Hyderabad. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Let me introduce Session 3 resource person. Mr. G.N. Satish Kumar is presently working as data analyst at SR Software Solutions, Hyderabad. Prior to it, he worked as head of MBA department at Aurora's Post-Graduation College, Hyderabad. He has 19 years of teaching experience at MBA level in various colleges in Hyderabad and Warangal. He has conducted various faculty development programs, workshops, and webinars for faculty members, students, and research scholars on data analysis. Sir has participated and presented research papers in various international and national conferences and also written more than 25 management articles for various national and international journals. He has conducted more than 200 PhD data analysis for research scholars from various national and international universities. He is acquainted with IBM SPSS Statistics 25 statistical package, structure and equation modeling software like SPSS AMOS 25, Smart PLS, WRAP PLS, R and Python program languages, and Oracle database. His academic qualifications are MBA from Kakatiya University, Warangal, MDCA from Jawaharlal Nehru National Youth Center, Hyderabad, BSc Maths from Kakatiya University. Welcome, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Kalyani, Madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Shall I start my session?
Yes, sir.
Right, I'll share the screen first.
Yes, sir.
Just
yes.
Yeah, can you see the screen, Madam?
No. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
It's starting.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, good afternoon to everyone. The session. My name is J. Satish Kumar. As Madam has introduced me, I'm a data analyst, and I have been given 3 sessions. So today I'll be taking 1 session on parametric test, and tomorrow I have 2 sessions. So tomorrow first session I'll be taking about non-parametric, and in the second session I'll be talking about factor analysis. So once we start about parametric test, let me show you one, just 1 minute. Let me show the content which I'm going to discuss in these 3 sessions. First, we will be having some small idea because already Sir has already covered the basics of data analysis. So I'll be talking about data types and measurement type. And here we are going to talk about skewness, kurtosis, because these are important to understand what type of test, parametric, non-parametric test, which one we want to do. This is important. After that, we will be discussing about data normality, hypothesis test, parametric and non-parametric test. And here we are going to discuss in detail about different type of parametric test, like one sample t-test, 2 independent sample t-test, data homogeneity test, there's Leibniz test, paired sample t-test, and one-way ANOVA with postdoc we'll be discussing, and repeated measure ANOVA also we can discuss. And in non-parametric test, we have, this is the test which I'm going to discuss, McNemar test, chi-square test, Mann-White-New test, Wilcoxon-Steinrank test, and Kruskal-Wallis test. And in third session, we'll be discussing about factor analysis, reliability test, which is Cronbach alpha, and concepts of testing validity. We have convergent validity and discriminant validity, If time permits, I will show you the formulas also how to calculate, because this validity test is not possible in SPSS. This is must be done separately with a formula. So if time permits, then I'll be discussing about how to do this convergent and discriminant validity also, and some multi-collinearity between the groups also. If possible, we will discuss this topic also. So these are the 20 topics which I'm going to cover in the 3 sessions. And first, before we start the subject, the main important thing that we are going to discuss is when we have data. Just a moment. I have a lot of data with me. Just a moment. I'll open sales data. When we have data, the basic question many people ask is which type of test I must do. Like we said, t-test is there, and we have non-parametric method is there. So how to understand which type of test to do? For that, first we need to understand what is our data type first of all. Now I'm taking a small example here, which is called grades. Now in SPS, after entering, we'll be having here type. This is a measure. This is the data type. Generally in SPSS, we enter all types as numeric only. In some cases, we enter string data, but that we cannot use for analysis purpose. We're not using for analysis purpose. Generally, we enter in a numeric form only. And the very important thing that is required is measurement type. Am I audible? Is my voice clear?
Perfect,
Sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the important thing, the basic, very important thing, what we need to understand when you see the data is what is the measurement types. Now, I think so already discussed this point. We have 3 types of data types in SPSS. The one is nominal data. Second one is ordinal data, and third one is scale data. Nominal data is like gender, where it's only represents but does not have any sort of comparison. Like male female we take, we don't need to compare like male is equal to female, male is greater than female. This comparison not there. They are categories, so it's called nominal data. But when you come to ordinal data is always in a form of an order. That is structured in a type of order. For example, grades. We have here A, B, C, D grades are there. These are grades. Or we have designations, like different designations starting from clerk, manager, general manager in this way. Or we have like age categories. Like many times we'll see in the questionnaire, below 20 years, 20 to 30 years, 30 to 40. This is all comes under ordinal data, which has an order. You can see the structure. They're beautifully given icon also. It is like a stepwise. And nominal data is like a circles. They have nothing to compare. They are just stands individual like a categories. Nominal data is also called as categorical data. Categorical data. Generally, I'll be using the synonym words, nominal data or categorical. Both are same. Nominal or categorical, both are same. And ordinal data is a data which is having order. Apart from this, the third important one is scale data. Data which is continuous form, like a GPS score we have. Like GPS score is between 1 to 5 in this case. So whatever score he gets, even get 1.33, 1.50, whatever score he gets, this is all comes under GPS. Like test marks, you can see the text marks here, 1 to 10 marks they have given here for the test marks. So this all type of data is called as a scale data. Now here for parametric test, we will be taking scale data only. We will be taking only scale data, but not nominal data and ordinal data. I think, am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, any one participant can interact with me so that I'll understand whether I'm going in my own way or I'm with you.
So it's fine, sir. You can go ahead.
Yeah, any one
can go ahead.
Other people can be muted, not a problem. But one person, so that we'll have that, because it's a 1.5 session. If I go in my own way, then I may miss you all people somewhere else.
Okay.
So what we'll do is here, the scale data for parametric test, we will be taking scale data only. And for non-parametric, we can use either ordinal data or categorical data. But for parametric, we will be using scale data. It does not mean only.
Password.
No?
I request all the participants to kindly mute.
Yeah. And it does not mean that if you have only parametric data, scale data, and we are going to directly use it in parametric test. If it is scale data, second important condition is it must be normally distributed. The data must be normally distributed. When we are meeting these two important conditions, one is it must be a scale data, and second one it must be normally distributed. Then only we are going to use it for parametric test. Let me show you what is this normal distribution. Many people know this diagram. It's like a bell type of structure where the data is uniformly distributed around the mean. Means it is a mean. If you take the data is uniformly distributed towards both tails. This is what we call it as a normally distributed data. So we're not going to go into the details about highly discussion what is normal distribution, if it's not normal distribution, how to make the data normal distribution. These things we are not going to discuss now, because that is a different aspect where we need to specialize in that area. If the data is not there, many times scholars will ask me, I want to do parametric. If the data is not normal distributed, come on, can you give me a method of how can I make a data normal? There are so many methods are there where you can make the data normal. It does not mean we are going to control the data. We are not going to control the data. We have some sort of methods are there to some percentage, to some extent. We definitely can make the data normalized, but does not mean always we can make a non-normal data into a normal data. So first what we'll see is here, we'll take a small example here, sales data. In this, okay, age is a scale data. I want to see whether this age variable is normally distributed or not normally distributed. So in SPSS, how we are going to check whether the data is normally distributed or not normally distributed. Okay, shall I go ahead?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, first thing is I'm seeing that, okay, age is a scale data, done. If you want to go for parametric test, I want to see whether the data is normally distributed or not normally distributed. In this analyze, in this descriptive statistics, explore. Explore in the sense we are finding it now. Now in that, I'll take age as a dependent variable. And the plot, we are going to select a normality plot with tests. And select, if you want to see the diagrammatic of this one, you can select histogram also. This is optional one, not a problem. But many people like to see in a diagrammatic form. Right. This is important one. Normality plot with test. Click continue. And click OK. Now when I click OK, now here you can see this case processing summary. Total sample is 110. Okay, there's no missing data here. Now, here we have descriptives. In this descriptives, we have skewness and kurtosis. Many people knows that skewness is moving the data towards left side, right side. This is skewness. The peakedness is called as kurtosis. But instead of going into the details of the skewness and kurtosis, let's come to directly the point how we can find whether it is normally distributed, not normally distributed. Now here, test of normality, we can see this table. Here two type of tests are there. Kolmogorov-Smirnov test and Shapiro-Wilks test. And both are having significant values. Both are having significant values. Now what you will do is, if the sample size is large, big sample size, then use this Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. If the sample size is less, use Shapiro-Wilks test. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if the sample size large means now we have 110 sample. Okay, then you must use Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. If the sample is 30, 29 in that way, then use Shapiro-Wilks test. Generally, both tests will give the same result. Approximately, I have never seen any case where you have difference in the values. But it is a rule that if your sample data is large sample, there's more than 30, then generally in social science we never have sample size 13. Medical cases only, I'm getting that type of cases. Medical, generally for medical and bioscience only we are getting that. But not for social science like marketing, finance, HR. We have in hundreds and thousands we have sample. So always go with the Kolmogorov-Smirnov test only. Shapiro is
Excuse
used
me,
when we
sir.
have less sample size.
Excuse me,
And-
sir. I have one
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
At the size of 30, should I take it as a nice sample or the small?
Please come again. I could not understand your question.
Exact number of samples are 30.
Number of?
Whether it can be samples are 30. Then
Mhm.
30 samples should be considered as a large or small.
No. Here we are saying 30 sample, less than 30 is small, more than 30 is large.
And equal to 30.
Sir?
Exactly the number of samples are 30.
If it is 30,
Huh.
it's a small sample only.
Okay.
Because we
So
have
if it
something
is-
called significant level, sir. That's what I'm saying in social science, because this we are discussing in the platform social science, right? If you're a medical, no, our discussion will be in a different way.
But I am just saying that I have one of the case where my samples are 30 only. So I should
Okay.
consider it as a small sample.
Please consider it consider it a small sample only, sir. 30 and less than 30, you can consider small sample only.
Okay.
Because we are using hundreds of sample, 200, 300, 400 sample generally we'll be using. Right. So in our case, now we have 30 is a small sample only. So you consider 30 is a small sample. Now in the present case, in sales data, what I am discussing, I have 110 as a sample size. So please use Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. And one important thing I already quoted, there is no case I have seen where you have difference in the test, whether you are using Kolmogorov-Smirnov or Shapiro-Wilk test, that result what you are getting is not having any sort of deviation. So only for purpose of writing, we need to write which test I have used. Result is obviously same. Right. Now in this case, I have Kolmogorov-Smirnov test and Shapiro-Wilk test. We need to look into the significant value. In my case, I have significant value is 0.015. Now let us discuss here how we are going to comment whether this age data is normally distributed, not normally distributed. For this, what you must comment is if the significant value is less than 0.05, then data is not normally distributed. If it is less than 0.05, data is not normally distributed. If it is more than 0.05, you can write as a thing that data is normally distributed. I think, am I clear in this regard?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you must, when you do normality test, for doing parametric test, I said first you must see the data is scale data only. It must not be categorical data. In a scale data, test the normality. In this, if your sample size is large, generally in social science, we have large sample. Kolmogorov-Smirnov test and see the significant value. If the significant value is less than 0.05, comment as data is not normally distributed. Data is not normally distributed. So in our case, it is 0.015, which is less than 0.05. So data is not normally distributed. For understanding purpose, you can see this diagram, even though it is looking like a normal diagram, normal distribution, but it is not normally distributed. It is not normally distributed because it is not aligned completely with the line. It is not completely aligned. So there is a deviation in the model. So this is what you want to say. Test of normality, data is not normally distributed. Isn't okay? Let me do one more test with the sales and just show you the same thing of explore instead of age. Let me take sales. Same thing, already plot, normal plot is there. Click continue and click OK. Now here you can see test of normality, Kolmogorov-Smirnov. The significant value which I got is 0.006. 0.006, which is less than 0.05. So data is not normally distributed. And you can see here, histogram, it is totally
Right.
right skipped. It is totally gone to one side, skipped to one side. So the data is not normally distributed. In earlier case, the picture, the significant value is somewhat better. You can see it is 0.015. So you are able to see there is something like normal distribution, but this is also not normally distributed data. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So if the data is normally distributed and scale data and normal distributed, then only we are going to go for parametric test. If it is not there, then we must not use parametric test. Okay. So this is all about normal distribution. This is, I think this is all everyone knows. Skewing and kurtosis, how much kurtosis must be there, all these things. There's one formula is also there, but I don't know. If I'm not confusing you, I'll say that formula. What we have is this skewness divided by its error, standard error. If we divide this value with this error, it must be between minus 1.96 to plus 1.96. Then it is normal distributed. Some formula is there, but don't get confused because you are using SPSS software. It is always comfortable to go with test of normality, Kolmogorov-Smirnov test. This one shot will be useful for you to write the interpretation. Is it okay? Can I go ahead?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah. Now,
Yes.
some more things we need to discuss before we actually go to the test, because we said in parameter, we'll discuss what is the difference between parametric test, non-parametric test, this all stuff before going to discuss all those stuff. We will discuss something about this null hypothesis and this type 1 error and type 2 error. Okay, I think one of my video my friend was doing, he has lakhs of views on null hypothesis. He did a video only on null hypothesis. He has lakhs of views on YouTube. And then I was surprised people are actually searching for very basic fundamentals on like null hypothesis, sample size calculation, type 1 error, type 2 error. Many people are interested on that. So that's why I'm saying null hypothesis is something where you come to an assumption saying that there is no difference between particular issue. For example, male and female you want to compare. We always say there is no significant difference between male and female. That is called null hypothesis. And alternate hypothesis, for writing purpose, we write the reverse to what to say null hypothesis. That is called alternate hypothesis. Now, important thing to understand is
Sir,
type
sorry
one-
to interrupt. Sir, sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt. Sir, I was lost somewhere that how to do that normality test. Is it coming under analysis part? Analyze?
Okay. You want to see analysis. Okay. Just
No. I just wanted to know how you have reached to normality test. Under analyze it was there, or under data?
analyze,
Analyze then?
descriptive statistics.
Descriptive statistics, and then?
In this explore.
Okay, under that explore. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. You can continue, sir.
In this plot is there, you need to select this button, normal.
Okay, sir. Got it, sir.
Right. Here we are discussing about type 1 error and type 2. If our null hypothesis is, type 1 error says if the null hypothesis is true and we are rejecting is, this is called as a type 1 error. In social science, we always take type 1 error. We want to reduce a type 1 error. When we do analysis, we always write confidence interval is 95%. 95% is confidence. What you're saying is correct. Now, how much is wrong? What you're saying is wrong. Maybe wrong. That is only 5%. 5% is nothing but 0.05. Okay. This significant level of 0.05 is called type 1 error. We always try to minimize type 1 error in social science. In social science, when you're doing, we always try to minimize, means we always try to reduce this type 1 error, because type 1 error is a significant 0.05. So this error must be less. What is this type of error? When the null hypothesis is a true, but you're rejecting it. So this rejecting must be reduced. You always try to accept the null hypothesis. You always try to accept the null hypothesis, but when you're rejecting the null hypothesis, when it is true and you're rejecting, this is called type 1 error. This is nothing but alpha we call. A confidence interval 95%. Social science, we always take 95%. Medical cases, they are taking it 99%. That is 0.01 is their significant level, but our significant level will always be 0.05. 5. So this is what important. Type 1 error is rejecting a null hypothesis when it is true. And we always try to minimize this type 1 error. Now coming to type 2 error, it is a null hypothesis which is false and you're accepting it. A null hypothesis is false and you're accepting it. This is called as a type 2 error, where we call it as a beta. Okay. So this is what is type 2 error. In general, in social science, we never talk about type 2 error. In only medical, we are talking about type 2 error and how to minimize this type 2 error. We will be talking to. But here, since it is a platform of marketing, finance, and HR, we will talk about type 1 error only. So we always try to reduce this type 1 error. I think I am clear now. Confidence interval, generally we take at 95%. So 95% confidence means what is error? 5%. That 5% is called as a significant level. That is type 1 error. We always try to minimize this type 1 error. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, in further analysis, when I go into analysis, I always say about hypothesis test. So in hypothesis, always I'll be quoting that, saying that the confidence interval is 95%, significant is 5%. So you may ask me, what is the significant level? This is type 1 error. What you're talking about, we want to minimize this. Is it okay? Right. Now let us see parametric and non-parametric test. There is some important differences. I have figured it out. In parametric test, when you are doing, always we see about normal distribution. The parametric test, the data must be normally distributed. But in non-parametric test, no assumption of the distribution. We don't bother how the data is distributed. And it handles the scale data only. I already said it only handles scale data. But non-parametric can handle any type of data, any measurement type. It can handle categorical data, there's nominal data, scale data, ordinal data, rank data, any type of data it can handle. Results can be significantly affected by outliers. This is a very important problem. Outliers affects parametric. If there are more outliers, we need to either eliminate them from the analysis, or we need to try to understand why these outliers are coming in the analysis. So in parametric test, results impacts, the outliers impacts the results. But in non-parametric, the outliers does not bother you much. Results cannot be seriously affected by the outliers. Parametric test has more statistical power. Non-parametric test, it is not so powerful like a parametric test. Not so powerful like a parametric test. So these are the major significant differences between parametric test and non-parametric tests. Any doubt you have, you can ask at this moment. Hello, can I go ahead?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Right. Can I go ahead?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please.
Outliers are extreme values, no?
Yeah, outliers are, we have, we'll take a standard deviation, and more than standard deviation, which are more than 3, generally we consider them as outliers, 3.05, 3.15. Basing on our research analysis, we'll decide what are the outliers. Extreme values, which are not having standard deviation 1 will take, standard deviation 2 will take, which are more than 3 standard deviation, which values which are falling away from 3, they're called as outliers. Outliers nothing but extreme values.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
The pattern, if you see the pattern here, generally you will understand here itself.
Okay, sir.
Here we don't have, generally some cases we will be having outliers. Clearly the system itself shows we have different methods are there. I can show you different methods are there, but some cases will be.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. This one, I'll show you just outliers, how to see them. Yeah, you can see here, these are the outliers. These 2 cases are outliers. This is actual normal distribution. This is data which is there, and generally we say this is case number 92 and case number 4. These are the outliers which are falling away more than what is required. And here also you can see these 2 cases are behaving in a odd way. These are outliers. we have a lot of other mechanisms are there. Because when you do regression analysis, this becomes very important for us outliers cases. Lot of regression analysis we do, and outliers actually bothers us very high when it comes to regression analysis. So we check meticulously what are the outliers, and we'll decide with the scholar and the researcher whether this outliers must be retained in the research or to be eliminated from the research. So here parametric, non-parametric, how to decide which test to be used. See the measurement type. If it is nominal data or ordinal data, you are going to directly use non-parametric test. There is no other way. If the data is nominal or ordinal, use non-parametric test. If the data is scale data, see the normality test, normal distribution. If the data is normal distribution, yes, then you are going to go ahead. If it is no, data is not normally distributed, again you are going to go with non-parametric test. Again, in this also, again, are the variance of the population equal? This will discuss further cases. If the variance of the populations are not equal, then again you are going to use non-parametric test. If the variance of the population is also equal, then you are going to use a parametric test. So we have a lot of conditions on parametric test. Data must be scale, data must be normal distribution, variance of the populations must be equal. So many conditions are there to use parametric tests.
Sir,
Yeah,
how to check the variance of population, sir?
that we'll discuss in the case wise. We'll discuss. Now, if I open it, you'll get confused here.
Okay, sir.
We'll make groups and we will discuss about the variance of the populations. We'll discuss later, as if time permits, I'll go into that depth case in detail of those cases. Okay, so next. Okay, here now we will be talking about what are the parametric tests we have and what are the non-parametric tests we have. Two independent sample t-test is a parametric test. Everyone knows that t-test, ANOVA, very famously they say it is a parametric test. And many people don't know about non-parametric tests. Many people, they don't talk much about non-parametric methods. But you can see here, parametric test, two independent sample t-tests. In parametric, in non-parametric, we have Mann-Whitney U-test. In parametric, paid sample t-test. This is Wilcoxon sign rank test. In non-parametric, when we are using one-way ANOVA, you must use Kruskal-Wallis tests. And when you are using repeated measure ANOVA in non-parametric, you must use a Fredman test. So this will discuss again and again. We'll be coming to the same table, which parametric test you are using. If the conditions are not satisfied, what non-parametric test can be used in that case? So these are the tests actually generally will be using parallelly. If you have some conditions satisfied, you are using a two independent sample t-test. If the data is not normal distributed, then use Mann-Whitney U-test. So this is what you are going to discuss about. Right. So we'll start now the actual practical examples. With the examples, we'll talk about the parametric test today. In this session, now we are going to discuss about a parametric test. Right. Let me take this sales example. In this example, can I go ahead?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
In this example, we have age, sales, experience, education, and gender. And now, before I start parametric test, I already said t-test and ANOVA are parametric. Within the t-test, again, we have categories of t-tests are there. And within ANOVA, again, we have different type of methods of ANOVA test are there. Basing on our objective, what we want to perform, the method will be used. Same like whatever you want to do work, basing on that, you will select a tool. Here also, basing on our objective only, we are going to decide which type of test we are going to use. Now, let me say a small example. Age. These are 110 sample sizes there. Okay. And I want to see, I'm having a hypothesis. The mean age of these people are 35. Mean age is 35. Now I want to do a small test and find it out whether my expectation is correct or not. We have two types of things. One is observed, the other one is assumed. I'm assuming that the mean age of these people is 35. Now, in this case, when you have an assumption and you want to check in terms of mean, then we will be using t-test. We'll use one sample t-test will be used, because in this case we'll be having only one sample. I'm using only age. But here I'm having an assumption that the mean age is 30. So this, sorry, 35. This 35 is called as assumed. Okay. And what is observed? System will specify what is actual mean. So is a difference between assumed and expected, observed. If the difference is significant or not, this is what you're going to discuss. For example, here you can see the slide here. Just made one sample t-test. The null hypothesis always will be like this. There is no significant difference between assumed mean and actual mean. There is no significant difference between assumed mean and actual mean. I'm assuming in this case the mean age is 30. This assumption. Let us see whether our null hypothesis will be accepted or rejected. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So why I'm saying one sample? Because I'm using age is only one sample, right? So on this, I'm doing the analysis. Analyze, compare means in this one sample t-test. One sample t-test. Here, we are assuming the age as not 30, 35 will keep 35, the mean age. And let us take the age here. Right? And click OK. And this is called assumed one. The actual observed one system will present to me. Click OK. Now in the output, you can see the actual mean, what the system is giving for this 110 members is 36.5. This is actual one. What I'm assuming is 35. What I'm assuming is 35. Now, how to say whether our null hypothesis, what I've specified here, is there is no significant difference between assumed mean is 35 and actual mean. For this, if you see the output, we have to see the significant value, total significant value. The significant value is 0.079. So are you going to accept the null hypothesis or reject null hypothesis? Can anyone guess? We are going to accept the null hypothesis or reject the null hypothesis?
Accept the null hypothesis.
Okay. If it is less than 0.05 only, we are going to reject it. In this case, it is more than 0.05. So we are going to accept the null hypothesis. See, clearly written. If the significant value is less than 0.05, we reject the null hypothesis. Else, we accept the null hypothesis. Since the value what I got here is more than 0.05, so I'm accepting the null hypothesis. And I'm saying there is a significant difference. Yeah, there is no significant difference. There is no significant difference between assumed mean and actual mean. So this is the conclusion. If the significant value is less than 0.05, we would have rejected the null hypothesis. But now we are not going to reject the null hypothesis, but we are going to accept the null hypothesis. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Sir, can you repeat the calculation done by you?
Yeah, see, I made an assumption. I made a null hypothesis. This is my null hypothesis. You want me to do the analysis part?
Yes, analysis part.
Okay. So the analysis goes in this way. Analyze, compare mean, one sample t-test. In one sample t-test, what variable which you want to take for analysis, take into testing variable. And here, write the assumed mean. I'm taking assumed mean is 35. I'm not selecting any more options. Simply I'm clicking OK. And this is output. In this output, we will see what is observed one. Observed is 36.5. and the assumed one is 35. So just see the significant value only. The significant value, if the significant value in this case is 0.079, it is 0.079. If it is less than 0.05, we can reject it. Here written, if the significant value is less than 0.05, we reject the null hypothesis. Else we are going to accept the null hypothesis. So in our case, we are going to reject the null hypothesis. We are going to accept the null hypothesis because it is more than 0.05. So this is all about one sample t-test. Is it okay, sir?
Yes, sir.
It's clear.
Yeah. Now let us go for the next type of analysis test, which is called two sample t-test. Here we will be using two variables as a test name itself suggesting two sample independent sample two test, we call this. So here we will be taking two tests like age and gender. Now in the company recruitment, when they do, we are thinking that there is no significant difference between male and female in terms of their age. Or let us say sales, better meaningful it will be there. Is there any significant difference between male and female towards the sales performance? Towards their sales performance. So just let me bring it to the right side. Here, male, gender and sales. So we are using two independent sample t-test. Here important point to be noted is gender is nominal data and dependent variable. Sales is a scale data. When you are using parametric test, always see that the dependent variable is scale. You don't get bothered about independent variable. Independent variable, you don't get bothered. Generally, it will be categorical data only. Only bother about the dependent variable. So gender is independent variable and the sales is a dependent variable. Is it okay? Gender is independent variable and sales is a dependent variable. And I'm keeping an assumption there is no significant difference between male and female towards sales performance. So when you're doing parametric, you check whether the sales, what you're doing, is normally distributed or not normally distributed. But I'm saying this is another point. In many university theses I've seen, people are not doing normality distribution at all, and they directly submit and they do t-test. And not now for years together they're accepting that thesis. What may be the reason? What is the reason? Anyone can guess?
Assumed as normal.
Why they are assuming it is normal? Normality means, just now I said, normality means data normality test, Kolmogorov-Smirnov test must be done. And after establishing that data is normal, then only you must do the analysis, right? Without doing that test, they are directly doing t-tests and simply writing assuming. Why they are assuming and why universities accepting? Not only universities, many researchers are accepting that. Why?
Even if we look at old articles and all, they never checked normality.
Why? Okay, there is a method, is actually the people don't quote that one. According to central limitation theorem, if the sample size is high, like 300, 400, data will tend to be normal. We don't need to check the data. Normality. That's the actual assumption. If the data is large, as the data sample size increases, becomes huge, like 400, 500, 600, 700. Universities have a thumb rule of 1000 sample. Nowadays, people are not doing that one. But generally, earlier research, if you see, for the marketing, all these things, 1500 also I've seen. Because customers are available, they are taking so much samples. So for those data, we don't need to do normality at all. Why? Because according to central limitation theorem, as the sample size increases, the data tend to be normal distributed. This is what is the assumption. So they simply write, we are assuming the data is normal, but they don't write here clearly that why they are assuming also. Because actually they must write there saying that according to central limitation theorem, we have references for that also. Theorem, the data is, if it's a large sample like 400, 500, the data tend to be normal distributed. So hence we are not doing it. Simply they must go with the analysis of t-test. Is it okay?
Yes.
May I ask you?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. No.
Your voice is breaking, madam.
Yeah. In case of survey,
Sorry, I'm not able to hear. It's breaking.
so in case of doing with 2 samples, right? We have to do normality test.
Sorry, madam. I'm not able to hear you because there is a break in your voice.
Audible?
Sir, I have a question, sir. So
Please say.
why there is, I mean, like we do normality test for each and every variable separately?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we do it separately? I mean, like we need
See,
to check
you-
it separately, every variable, whether it is normally distributed or not.
See, it is all, I have just now said, it's all our objective. If you want to do parametric test, first of all, we will frame an objective. Let me say that I want to check whether there is any significant difference between male and female towards sales. This is my objective. In this, I have gender and sales. 2 variables are there. Gender
Yes,
is
sir.
independent variable, sales is dependent variable.
Yes,
Then
sir.
only for sales, you must check the normality. You don't need to check for experience, education, age, all these things. You don't need to check.
Reason, sir? I mean, like,
Why? Because we are not going to take them. See, if in a research, I have seen 600 variables in some research. Why
Yes,
will
sir.
do all analysis for all 600 variables?
okay, the variables which we are projecting
Absolutely.
in our research, like research
Absolutely.
objective, that
Absolutely.
only needs to be considered.
Research
Okay, sir.
always goes with limitations.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the
So
clarity.
here, since for this method, only sales we are you considering, do for only sales. Why you comment on education experience? Because you may be doing some other analysis for that.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Done, sir.
Right. Now here, gender and sales. Any more questions you can ask at this moment? So in two independent sample t-tests, we are having 2 variables, gender and sales, and we are creating a null hypothesis. We are framing a null hypothesis. There is no significant difference between gender towards sales. Let me start the analysis. Analyze, compare means, independent sample t-test. Yeah. Now in this, gender is a grouping variable. In this, we already did a code, 1 as male and 2 as female. Continue. And we are taking sales. I'm not doing any further settings. In grouping, I just informed to system that it is a gender is a variable name and we have 2 groups, 1 and 2. And sales is a testing variable. Okay. And click OK. Now here's outcome. You can see male, female. Males, we have 67, females are 43. And you can see the mean values, their mean performance. This is 9,292. This is 9,500. Females are performing better than males. But let us see, is this difference between male and female is significant or not significant? For this, we need to do significant here. If this value, significant value, is less than 0.05, we are going to reject the null hypothesis. Here we have the significant value is more than 0.05. It is 0.864, which is more than 0.05. So we are going to accept the null hypothesis. What is the null hypothesis? There is no significant difference between male and female sales performance. Male and female sales performance. Is it okay? Can anyone can respond? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Right. So here we made a null hypothesis saying that null hypothesis, there is no significant difference between gender towards sales performance. Now we can here simply quote here, the mean of males is less and females are 9,500. Even there is a difference, if we calculate, there's a difference is there, 300 difference is there. But in the system term, significant value, if you see the significant value is 0.864, which is more than 0.05. So you are going to accept it. If it is less than 0.05, we would have rejected it. So now we are accepting, saying that there is no difference between gender towards the sales performance. Right, here I have a question. When we in SPS only, we'll get this table like this. We have two significant values. Here one is 0.864, the other one is 0.863. Which one need to be considered? For this thing, you need to see equal variance assumed. Equal variance assumed. Just now we are some scholar, participant were asking how you check the variance of the groups, right? Now here you need to see equal variance assumed between the group, between the male and female. Is the variance between the groups are equal or not? If you assume equal variance, saying that equal variance assume, if the significant value is less than 0.05, we are going to reject that one. You are going to reject it. But now here we are accepting it because it is more than 0.05. So we are considering that equal variance is assumed between male and female. Equal variance is assumed between male and female, and this value must be taken. This value must be taken. If in case equal variance assumed, this significant value is less than 0.05, then we are going to reject it. It means the variance between the groups is not equal. Then you must consider the second row, that is equal variance not assumed. So this significant value must be taken to accept or reject the null hypothesis. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because we are talking about two groups, male group and female group. There will be variance between the groups. So we are considering that equal variance between the groups are assumed. And if the significant value is less than 0.05, we reject it. If not, we accept it. Now equal variance assumed is accepted. Then means you must see for the t-test, for equality of means, this test, this significant value must be taken. 0.864 must be taken. In case if this is less than 0.05, then you must consider equal variance and not assumed. Then you must take this value 0.863. Now let me conclude here. In two independent sample t-tests, you are going to consider the significant value. If the significant value is less than 0.05, we are going to reject the null hypothesis. If it is more than 0.05, you are going to accept the null hypothesis. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Now one more technique is also there here. You must see this 95% confidence interval difference, lower and upper. If there is a 0 between these two numbers, then you are going to accept it. Okay, you're going to reject only when there is no 0, means here minus sign is there and here plus sign is there, means 0 is there between. Here also minus and plus, if both are same sign. I've seen, I'm saying for fun purpose, don't take it serious. Some people will manipulate the data results they want, right? They'll make it less than 0.05, but don't forget to manipulate these values also. Okay.
Sir, please repeat. Sign should be same.
Yeah. See, this, between minus and plus sign, lower is minus 2626, right?
Okay.
Plus is positive, means between these two, lower and upper, there is 0 is there between.
Okay.
0 comes, right? If it is 0 is coming, means you are going to accept it.
Okay, sir. Got it.
If both are minus, not a problem. Both are minus, not a problem. Both are plus, also not a problem. But if there is a 0 between these two values, then this will not, without seeing t-test only, we can comment.
Okay, sir.
Okay. And let me do the same thing with the experience.
Hello.
Also.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, please say. Please say. Hello.
Sir, how we calculate the significant value?
Here, significant value. Now we are using software. I'm not talking about any formula here, madam. But significant value here, directly we are seeing the
sir.
formula and commenting
How
the
we
result.
calculate the significant value?
Madam, Hello. I'm not able to hear madam voice.
Sir, how we calculate the significant value?
You're talking formula. You want formula, madam?
863.
You're talking about a formula,
Sir, your voice is not audible.
isn't it?
No, it's audible. It's audible.
Okay,
sir.
sir.
It's
No,
audible.
we're using high-speed internet only.
It's audible, sir.
Yeah. That's what. It's perfectly working. I can see it. Madam, yeah, are you talking about formula, madam? Then we're not going to discuss the formula. Madam. You're only taking the spaces. We are going to comment the value, see the value, and we are going to do it.
Okay, sir. All right.
Right, madam? Because we are using like spaces. Other people are using. We are using R or Python. Everywhere we are just using software only. Conceptually, we are a marketing people, are a social science people.
Okay, sir.
Right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, madam. Now here, one important thing you must note. We'll be using this 2 independent sample t-test. This is a small condition is there. Now you are taking up independent variable. This independent variable must be exactly 2 levels only it should be. If it is more than 2 levels, then you must use ANOVA test. For example, we are having designations are there. Like we have clerk, manager, general manager, 3 designations. You want to compare, is there any significant difference these people towards the sales? Then you must not use a t-test. T-test is used only for 2 levels. Okay, if it is more than 2 levels, then ANOVA must be used. Okay, so let me do with gender with experience. I was doing that one. Where independent sample t-test. Here, gender will take as it is, and will take experience, saying that there is no significant difference between gender towards experience. There's another hypothesis. Here you can see experience, males are 5.45, females are having less. And right here, equal variance assumed is more than 0.05. So we are accepting it. So equal variance assumed only should be taken. So you must comment this value. The significant value is 0.946. So which is more than 0.05. So what you're going to do? You are going to accept the null hypothesis, saying that there is no significant difference between gender towards the experience.
Sir,
Is it okay? Yeah.
what is equal variance assumed, sir, here?
Madam?
What is the equal variance assumed here, sir? That is a test.
See, we have 2 groups. Male is one group segment and the female is another group, right?
Yes, sir.
Like for example, in a classroom, we made 2 groups. But in one group, low performing people are there. In other group, very high performance group is there. Can we compare these 2 groups?
No, sir.
No, that's what the same thing. When you take 2 competition, they must be equal variance, right?
Equal variance means like
Difference, madam. What is the meaning of variance? Difference in the group. Like you're having high performance, low performance in the group. That's called variance.
okay. No, sir. You have mentioned previously there is a normality test. You should for the parametric. No, there is a 2 conditions. Equal variance. That is the condition here. Sir,
Parametric test. I said 2 conditions. One is called data must be scale data.
Then
And
normal.
next is a normal distribution.
Then another you have said, sir, variance something.
Variance, equal variance, something, but that is not very important assumption, madam.
Okay.
That 2 first thing what you said, they are very important.
Okay, sir. Is that same, sir? That is equal variance. It is same here. That
Madam?
condition you have.
Yeah,
said
same condition.
thing. Okay.
Here only the problem with when is talking about independent sample t-test, since we have 2 significant values are here.
Okay.
So people may ask you why we are using this significant value and why we are not using the second significant value.
Okay.
Then you must comment on equal variance assumed.
Okay, sir. Okay.
After commenting this, basing on the significant value, then you are going to take this value into consideration and comment on the hypothesis.
So what is the first significant value, sir? What should be that? At
Here.
0.802.
Here you have this 11 is a test of equality of variance. This is a test. 11 is test of equality of variance. In this box, you have F value and significant value.
Okay.
So this value need to be first considered for equal variance assumed.
what is the condition for that Lebanese test of equality, sir? Significance value.
Yes.
What is the significance?
See, already you have a statement here. Equal variance assumed, right?
Yes, sir.
If the significant value is less than 0.05, you are going to reject that assumption.
Okay.
Now here equal variance assumed I'm saying, and the value is more than 0.05.
Okay.
So I'm considering that there is an equal variance between the groups.
Okay.
And I'm going to select this significant value
Okay. Okay.
in t-test.
Okay. Then the significance value should be greater than 0.05. Then we should
When
take
you,
the first
yes, yes, when you comment the hypothesis, if the significant value is less than 0.05, we are going to reject the null hypothesis.
one. Okay. Okay, sir. Okay.
So it is a two-step process actually, not direct step.
Okay. Okay, sir.
First, Lebanese test of equality of variance must be checked. Basing on this, you decide which value must be taken.
The Lebanese test of equality of variance significance should be greater than 0.05.
Yes, see, always you keep it as a thumb rule. Equal variance assumed. This is a statement. If it is less than 0.05, you are going to reject it.
Okay. 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 Okay,
If it is
sir.
less than 0.05, you are going to reject it. If it is more than 0.05, you are going to accept the statement.
Okay. Okay. Okay, sir.
If it is less than 0.05, then you must consider this equal variance not assumed row.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Right. Now in parametric test, we have discussed two important tests. One is one sample t-test. The other one is two independent sample t-test. Let me take one example here, grades. This is an example where students' percentage of marks are taken, GPS score is taken, and they have been given test 4 times. Okay. So test 1, test 2, this is the 2 tests. So I want to test, is there any significant difference between teaching method 1 and teaching method 2? This I'll show the values here. We have 2 teaching methods are there. Teaching method 1 and teaching method 2. So I'm keeping a null hypothesis saying that there is no significant difference between teaching method 1 and teaching method 2. So this is a third example I'm discussing. This is called repeated measure. Okay, now this is a paid t-test. We're going to discuss about paid t-test. Is it okay? Now, when we use this paid t-test, means when you have 2 datas which are depending on one another. Because see, this marks 8 related to the first respondent and marks 5 is also related to the same respondent. So this is called paid. Okay, when you have data which is paid, then we are going to use a paid t-test. An independent sample t-test, when we are like male and female, male has nothing to do with female. They are separate groups. So we are going to use independent sample t-test. But in paid sample t-test, we will be having 2 groups, first group and second group. And we want to compare, is there any significant difference between teaching method 1 and teaching method 2? Then we are going to use a paid t-test, paid sample t-test. Can I go ahead?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Any doubt is there? You can ask here.
Sir, in paid comparison test, can we need to take only 2 or more than 2, sir? For
That's very
comparison?
important. In t-test, always we will be taking only 2.
Okay.
If it is more than 2, then you must use repeated measure ANOVA test must be used.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
T-test only 2, like just now we said gender, only 2. If it is like you're taking designation, we may not have 2 designations, we may have 3 levels of designation. Then you must use a different test. ANOVA test must be used.
Okay, sir.
Here we are using paid t-test only because we are taking about only 2 tests. For example, I want to compare test 1, test 2, teaching method 2 and teaching method 3 I want to compare. Then you must use repeated measure ANOVA must be used.
Okay, sir.
Right. Now let me do this paid sample t-test. Here, analyze, compare means in this paid sample t-test. In this 2 tests, teaching method 1 and teaching method 2. I'm just taking 2 teaching methods. Teaching method 1 and 2. I'm not going to do any setting further, just I'm clicking OK. Now, null hypothesis already we must frame as there is no significant difference between teaching method 1 and teaching method 2. I can say teaching method 1 mean is 7.47 and teaching method 2 it is 7.98. Okay, there's a deviation more in teaching method 1, less deviation here. But this is a means. Now, how you want to compare, how you want to comment is in paid sample t-test, directly see the significant value. If the significant value is less than 0.05, we are going to reject the null hypothesis. Means there is a difference between teaching method 1 and teaching method 2. So null hypothesis always states that there is no significant difference between teaching method 1 and teaching method 2. Since the significant value is less than 0.05 at 95% confidence interval, since it is less than 0.05, we are going to reject the null hypothesis and comment that there is a difference between teaching method 1 and teaching method 2. Teaching method 1 is having less mean and teaching method 2 is having more, mean is 7.98. And there is a significant correlation is also between these values. You can see the significant value here. 0.673 is the significant correlation. So you can write a comment saying that there is a significant difference between teaching method 1 and teaching method 2. Any doubt you want to ask at this moment?
No, sir.
Can I go ahead? Right.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, this is all about the t-test. We discussed about three types of t-test. One sample t-test, two independent sample t-test, and we have discussed the third one, which is called paid sample t-test. Now, let us discuss on the same data, which is grades. I want to see, is there any significant difference between the specializations? Like we have three specializations in this data: marketing, finance, and HR. So three specialization people are there, and these people have GPS score, which is scale data. Now we will create a null hypothesis. Is there any significant difference between these specializations towards the GPS score? If you are doing between gender, male and female, towards GPS score, it is a t-test, independent sample t-test. But when you are doing specialization, which is more than 2 levels, then we are going to talk about ANOVA test. We are going to use about ANOVA test. Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, 105, I think 100, these are 105 students are there. 105 students are there. In this 105 students, we have the GPS score is there here. You can see the GPS score, which is scale data. This scale data. And we want to see whether there is any significant difference between specializations towards their GPA score. Now for this analysis, we must start with analyze, compare mean. In compare mean, one-way ANOVA. In one-way ANOVA, specializations is taken as a factor. Factor is not a grouping. And I'm taking GPS score. And click OK. I click OK. You can see ANOVA test. The significant value here is 0.055. 0.055, which is more than 0.05. So we are going to accept the null hypothesis. If it is less than 0.05, we would have rejected it. But here we have 0.055, which is more than 0.05. So we are accepting the hypothesis. What is the null hypothesis? There is no significant difference between specializations towards their GPA score. Okay. Now one more analysis we'll do in the same case. We will see with these specializations towards teaching method 1. Or teaching method 2 will take. This is more better we had just now. So we want to see whether there is any significant difference between specializations towards teaching method 2. analyze, compare mean, 1V ANOVA. Specialization is taken as a factor and take teaching method 2. And click OK. Yeah. Here also there is no significant difference. Significant value, the significant value is 0.610, which is more than 0.05. So we are not going to reject the null hypothesis, but accept null hypothesis and comment there is no significant difference between specializations towards the teaching method 2. Now, in case, because
So
since
one
we have
question.
yeah, please.
Sir, why we are taking compare means only? Why mean, not mode and median?
No, we don't take mode and median as a comparison purpose. Mean means average values will take and we will be comparing. Mode, we don't take mode as a absolute. Median maybe take some cases, but mode is absolutely not that parameter to be tested.
Okay, sir.
Average, generally, see, we want to compare two people, we generally take average. That's how we generally in terms of we do. We take the average and we compare whether there is a difference or not difference.
Yes, sir.
Okay, mean is the best criteria to be compared, not the mode. And some cases they'll take non-parametric. We have seen median they'll take, but not mode. Okay, non-parametric, some cases we see they'll take median as a base, median wise. Okay, now here mean is taken, and the significant value is 0.6, which is more than 0.6. Now one thing I want to say is post hoc test. Post hoc test means here, in case if it is less than 0.05, means we are rejecting null hypothesis, saying that there is a difference between the specializations. Then you want to know between the groups, you want to know. If you want to know between the groups, then you must do post hoc test. Analyze, compare mean, and 1V ANOVA. In this, let us remove this teaching method and let us take this GPS score only. And in post hoc, generally we will be taking this Tukey method. Some people take this Bonferroni method. They'll specify in the research for their data we need Bonferroni only. Then we are doing for them for Bonferroni. But generally by default we will be taking this Tukey method, assuming the equal variance of the groups. And click continue. Significant value is 0.05. Click continue and click OK. So if there is a difference only, if there is a difference between the group only, then you must do post hoc test. If there is no difference, we don't need to do. For experiment, for showing purpose, I am doing this analysis just to do the analysis. If it is less than 0.05, then our curiosity is to see between which group there is a difference. Now in this post hoc, we can see between the groups, that is marketing to finance, marketing to HR, finance to marketing, finance to HR, HR to marketing, and HR to finance. And see the values here. There is some difference between marketing and finance people, little difference, which is significant. But system is saying, oh, if we consider overall, there is no difference. But specific, if you see, very careful observation, if you see, there is a difference because it's less than 0.05. So there may be a small difference between marketing and the finance people in GPS score, but there's no difference between marketing and HR people because it is more than 0.05. Is it okay? And if you see the same thing, finance and marketing, there is a difference. And which people are having more means finance people are having more GPS score than marketing people because it's minus. You can see I minus J. I minus J means I is marketing, J means finance. This I marketing minus finance is negative. Negative in the sense finance people are having more value. System will only give you mean difference. So if it is negative, marketing people are having somewhat better than, finance people are having somewhat better than marketing. And HR people, there is no difference. Even though you can see HR is also having more, but it's not significant. So you don't need to comment this value.
Excuse me,
if you
sir.
want, you can comment this value. You can comment this value. Yeah,
Excuse me,
please.
sir. We can talk
Yeah,
about
please,
the
yes.
marketing and finance by 95% confidence level also.
Correct.
confidence interval. Both are minus. So there is no zero is in existence.
Okay.
I think that is also going to be the one way to come to the conclusion.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Right, welcome. So this is about post hoc test. We are comparing between the groups we are comparing. Now this is one way ANOVA. And next we will discuss about repeated measure ANOVA. Now just now we've seen paid sample t-test. In paid sample t-test, we are saying about exactly 2 levels we are comparing. But if you want to compare more than 2 levels, if I want to compare teaching method 1 to teaching method 2 to teaching method 3, then I must use this repeated measure ANOVA. Repeated measure ANOVA. One important thing you must understand, if the levels are more than 2, then we must use ANOVA test. If they are exactly 2 levels, use a t-test. So I'm starting the analysis. Analyze. In analyze, compare mean, not compare mean, general linear model. General linear model in this repeated measure. Repeated measure ANOVA. So analyze general linear model and in this repeated measure. Click here. Now here we got within subject factors. Here methods we are using, teaching methods. Here we are using, just a moment. I think 3 methods we are using because I don't want to take this teaching method 4. I'm just taking only 3 methods. Just add it. And here if I say define, you must select this one. After entering this method, you must enter how many levels you are considering in the analysis. Here I am considering only 3 methods. If you want to consider the 4th method, then you must enter the 4. After that, you must say add. After adding, you highlight this one. And after highlighting, you click on this button called define. Now in this define, what test you want to take, you just bring it from left side to right side by clicking these arrow marks. The arrow marks. So 3 methods have teaching method 1, teaching method 2 and teaching method 3. And now in this, so many things are there. Just I'll show you important things. A plot. You can select this plot. So we'll see in a diagrammatic way these methods in horizontal. I'm only taking horizontal axis. I'm taking. Click add. And click continue. I have not did anything. Just a plot I have selected. And I've selected this methods into horizontal. And I click this add button. It has come to plots. Line charts I'm using. Click continue. And anything you want to use, you can use. But let me click OK and see. Just a moment. Options are descriptives. So many methods we have, but I'll discuss the minimum one. Continue and click OK. Now this is the output what we have. In the output, you can see we have used the 3 tests. And descriptives, you can see teaching method 1 is 7.47. Teaching method 2 and 3, there is no difference at all. But you can see teaching method 3, there is a deviation is there. The standard deviation is more than teaching method 2. Okay. Now here, directly we'll see the test, the sphericity assumed. If the sphericity assumed this value is less than 0.05, then there is a significant difference between the methods. Now hypothesis, we must frame that there is no significant difference between the methods. If this value is less than 0.05, we must reject the null hypothesis, else we are going to accept it. Here, since the value is 0.001, which is less than 0.05, so we are going to reject the null hypothesis. It means there is a difference between the methods, and clearly you can see here there is a difference between teaching method 1 to 3 and 1 to 2. 1 to 2 and 1 to 3, but there is no difference between 2 to 3. So this you can see in diagrammatic also here. Teaching method 2 and 3 are equal, but teaching method 1 is very low. So there is a difference between 1 and 2 and 1 and 3. So this is how we are going to comment the results. Actually, this is having still further lot of analysis are there. Sparsity is there or not. So many things must be tested, but this all goes into specializations, because this is a very big subject where we need to discuss about sparsity. This is a test of sparsity, and you need to comment all these values. Greenhouse geyser method is all methods you must see, but in a very small way, in the basic way, you can see the sparsity assumption, this small value, significant value. And you're going to comment that whether you're going to accept the null hypothesis or reject the null hypothesis. Any doubts are there, you can ask in this case.
Sir, can you please repeat the procedure from analyze?
Analyze.
Then general
model in repeated measure.
Yes, sir. Then
in this
number of levels.
Here you must enter what you want to enter, like method, some name you must give.
Okay, sir. Methods.
And
okay.
How many levels you are considering? You'll take the number here.
Okay, sir. So 3 is for
because
ANOVA.
Here we are comparing
level ANOVA 3 we take for.
No, if it is more than 2, you use ANOVA.
More than 2, and if more than 3, then we use this repeated ANOVA test.
No. If it is more than 3 also, anyway. For example, I want to use 4. Again, I'm going to say 4 here.
More than 3, that means.
Yeah.
In one way ANOVA we use 3.
No, madam. One way ANOVA is for independent variables. These are all repeated variables, dependent variables is all. Okay, you are using 4 methods. In the last case, I've used 2 methods, right? I'm using 4 methods. All 4 methods I'm taking.
Okay.
And select this one. If it's a define, now I'm going to take all the methods. First method, second method, third method, fourth method. In a paid t-test, we are only comparing between 2 levels, 2 methods only. Here we are comparing all 4 together.
Sir, then how is it different from 1 way, 2 way, 3 way?
No, one way, madam. Not one way is independent t-test. Like for example, you're talking about designations. So designations they are not group. They're not dependent groups, right? Clerk has nothing to do with manager. Manager has nothing to do with general manager. Right? For example, here we are talking about marketing, finance, and HR. Nothing. They are separate, independent groups. They are. But here, what you are doing in this case is we are talking about test. For example, you see this test. All the tests, they are having same values, right? The same respondent, I have test first respondent, I am talking about test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4. This is called repeated. Okay. So they are called dependent variables. They are all same.
Okay.
When you are comparing between the tests, for example, you are conducting test for student for 3 semesters. And you want to compare between first semester performance to second semester, third semester, means the same candidate data you are taking for 3 times.
Okay.
So that is the test you are doing. 3 times you are taking. This is repeated.
So it's a more advanced form of paired sample t-test, something you want to say that? Because in paired pre and post we are taking.
This repeated measure ANOVA, lot of issues. Like we need to discuss about sparsity. We must discuss about adjustment. So many issues are there in advanced levels. Because from here you can see the SPS itself kept it in a separate form. They kept it general linear modeling, right? So this all
That's
topics what we are going to discuss. This is having lot of scope to discuss actually.
Okay, sir.
It's not like one shot, like you just enter and you get the data. You need to discuss further, I'm saying. Like you need to discuss in repeated measure ANOVA, you need to discuss about sparsity.
Okay, sir.
You need to discuss about, just a moment, you need to discuss about this multivariate tests also. What is this Pillai trace and why? You must comment all on all these values. Actually, we not like t-test and like paid t-test. One shot we don't go at once and comment the result. Here I'm directly showing the result, this part, right? But slowly you must comment all these tests. You must comment. You must comment on Muchali's.
Sir, is this MANOVA, sir?
Which is MANOVA? Yeah, MANOVA also you'll get type of this same type of Pillar's trace, Wilks lambda. All these things you'll be getting there.
No, sir.
MANOVA also you get the same.
MANOVA or
MANOVA also you'll be seeing. MANOVA also you'll be seeing this same type of methods.
Okay.
MANOVA also you'll be getting pillar trace and Wilks lambda.
It is also
Hotline.
done by general linear model, sir.
Yes, correct.
Okay, sir.
Multivariate. Here you are going to go there. Here you're going to go there, and here you are going to say about multivariate.
Oh, okay,
That's
sir.
for MANOVA.
Okay, understand, sir.
Methods that the tests are same, but here we are talking about repeated measure only.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Sir, I still am not understanding what is the difference between one-way ANOVA and repeated test ANOVA.
See, one-way ANOVA, you want to compare between 3 specializations: marketing, finance, and HR.
Okay, sir.
Is marketing depending on finance?
No.
That's independent there. Then use one-way ANOVA.
Okay.
You are taking 10 students, same 10 students. You are comparing their performance first semester, second semester, third semester. So these 10 students are same for first semester.
Yes.
Second semester also these 10 students only again.
Yes, sir.
Third semester also they same. That's called repeated.
Okay, repeated set of students. So these are what we'll call them as independent variable or dependent variable. What we'll be calling this?
Correct. See here we do medical test. What we do is before giving the drug, what is the patient's condition? After drug is given 1 month. After drug is given 2 months. So repeated again and again. You are checking the same 10 patients only. You are checking.
Yes, sir.
This is called repeated measure.
Okay, that's why it's repeated.
Sir, it's like dependent sample t-test like that, sir. Dependent t-test, it's like that, sir.
Yes. But if you're not comparing between the same 10 patients, but you're taking 10 patients of a particular disease and 10 patients of a B disease, 2 different disease people, and you want to do a medical test on them, then use ANOVA test.
2 groups, sir.
2-3 groups. For example, 10 people of A disease, 10 people of B disease, 10 people of C disease. You want to test how this medicine is affecting A group, B group, and C group. They are different, right? They're not going to have repetition there. Then that is called as one-way ANOVA.
What is the name, sir? What is the name?
Sorry, it's not need. It is our purpose. What you want to test? Whether you want to test, whether you want to test between these 3 groups, or you want to test the same people but different time series.
Name of the test, sir?
Which test? If you see if you are testing
measure.
time series, why is it called as repeated measure ANOVA?
Repeated measure ANOVA. Okay, sir.
Yeah, if you are testing different groups, it's one-way ANOVA.
Okay.
Is it fine?
Okay, sir.
Right. Any more doubts you can ask me at this moment, or else we will conclude the session today here itself, and tomorrow we will discuss about non-parametric methods.
Sir, for time series, you said repeated measure ANOVA.
I don't want to make you confused. I'm saying series of time. Series of the time means for a repeated measure ANOVA, you have taken 10 patients, and before giving drug, you see their medical condition. And after giving the drug, after 1 month, what is the medical condition? After giving the drug, after 2 months, what is the condition? Okay. It's a series of time, right? So this is a repeated measure ANOVA.
Okay, sir.
You're seeing before giving the drug, after giving the drug 1 month, and after giving the drug 2 months. Means what is the efficiency of the medicine? How effective the medicine is working?
Yes, sir. And this is different from repeated test ANOVA, right?
Repeated test ANOVA, I'm saying, 3 times you're testing. Repeatedly you're testing. Same 10 students. We are testing first semester, second semester, and third semester.
Okay, sir.
So 3 years, we are conducting first semester different time, second semester different time, third semester different time again. So this is repeated measure ANOVA.
Okay, sir.
But you are comparing between specializations, different groups, then that is one-way ANOVA.
Okay, sir.
See, always we must think what is our objective and we must think what test can be used. So I hope those are clear. And is it okay? Shall we conclude here?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yep. Tomorrow,
Yes, sir.
in the second session, we'll discuss about non-parametric test.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
very much, sir. It was
Yeah,
an excellent session, sir.
Yeah, welcome.
Sir has actually covered up on topics like what are data types, measures, what is the in what for what data, what test we have to use. Sir spoke about large sample test, small sample test, type 1, one sample t-test, two sample t-test, paired t-test, one-way ANOVA, and repeated measure ANOVA. So, thank you very much, sir. It was an excellent
Welcome, madam.
information. Thank you all the participants for your active participation. Let us meet tomorrow for day 3 FTP session. Thank you very much.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Bye. Bye.